Coming up on Mountain News this morning, family members of a Pikeville police officer who died nearly 90 years ago can now find their loved one's name memorialized. And a family in Clay County was rescued yesterday after getting caught in moving floodwaters while driving. Plus, an oil spill in the Fallsburg area of Lawrence County has Dayton County environmental officials working to try and clean things up.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 6:32 on December 31st. I'm Madison Pergram, and thank you for joining us on this New Year's Eve morning. As you're getting up, maybe grabbing that coffee, preparing for the day's festivities. Let's go to Brandon Robinson. Brandon, it's a chillier day, but a prettier day. No rain. But yesterday, I saw this shot in New York City in Times Square, and the rain was coming down. So I can't imagine if that was tonight.
Yeah,
just call it miserable.
It's drier today, thankfully, for our neighbors up in the Big Apple this morning. But, you know, I had big plans today. I'm going to go home. I'm going to take a nap. Hopefully I can stay up long enough to watch the ball drop at midnight. You know, big doings today. But if you got those plans, it's going to be a nice day for you. Let's take a look and see what's going on here on our last holiday of the holiday season. We're looking at not too bad conditions this morning, not too much except for cloud cover outside the WYMT studios. Temperatures have not moved all morning, so basically upper 30s in those central and northern and western counties there, and then we see 40s across the southern counties and the central counties of like Kentucky River, Hazard, the warmest spot in the region at 44. Winds, they continue to crank. Anyway, these are sustained wind speeds. Now, these are not gusts. We've had gusts 30, 35 miles per hour, but we're seeing sustained winds of anywhere between 6 and 22 miles per hour, making it feel like the upper 20s out toward Lake Cumberland and up toward Moorhead along I-64 over into southwest Virginia. Just, it's chilly this morning with the wind. So a little extra on your coffee meter. Normal day just for temperatures there for the most part. Your planner, we are going to continue to fall until about 9 o'clock into the mid-30s and then start to climb back into the 40-degree range there as we head toward 2 o'clock before starting to fall again. Kind of a roller coaster ride as we wrap up 2019 with the weather we've had this year. It's no surprise that the last day will be a roller coaster ride once again. We'll talk more about the extended forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, when a law enforcement officer is killed in the line of duty, their name is etched on a special wall in Washington, D.C. More than 90 years ago, Alonzo Lon Robinson with the Pikeville Police Department put on a badge for the last time. On May 16, 1929, Robinson was shot and killed while serving a search warrant on a man for possessing liquor at his home. Chief Chris Edmonds says he is happy to see Robinson get the recognition he deserves.
We want his name to be there because he gave the ultimate sacrifice for Pikeville and Pike County. You know, this year in Police Week up in Washington, he'll be on a candlelight vigil. He'll be etched into the wall now.
This is all thanks to the work of a retired police officer. Robinson is one of two Pikeville police officers killed in the line of duty. His name is now etched on the National Law Enforcement Memorial. The next Police Week in Washington, D.C. will be held in May. And friends and family began saying goodbye to a Pike County deputy last night. James Earl Williams died this past weekend. If you've been to a Belfry game, you likely saw Deputy Williams. Visitation started last night, and his funeral is this morning at 11. All services are at the Belfry High School auditorium, and Deputy Williams was 54 years old. And a man died Sunday in a Pike County crash. Investigators say he lost control and hit a rock wall. State troopers tell us this happened on Widows Branch and Phelps, and Marty Blankenship is the man who died at the scene. And the friends and co-workers of a Boyd County deputy jailer are feeling the void of his loss after he was killed in a crash this past weekend. Thomas Muse died after troopers say he lost control on I-64 near Olive Hill and crashed into a guardrail. Chad Hendrick met with friends who knew Thomas best and say his kindness for others will be what they remember most about him.
If you notice, most of the comments was you're so nice and helpful.
It doesn't surprise jailer Bill Hensley to see the outpour of love and condolences for the loss of one of his deputies.
That is him right there, that smile and how he is with people.
Thomas Mukes was a deputy jailer at the Boyd County Detention Center for over 2 years, never failing to bring a smile to his coworkers, regardless of the situation.
He was so full of energy all the time. He's on my shift, and you know, every morning he brings everybody breakfast, and He's always loud and jumping up and down and happy. And if you're having a bad day, he's always the one everybody kind of leans on.
Travis Hanshaw worked closely with Thomas. It's been more than 24 hours now since the news that his friend had died in this crash in Carter County. The news, though, still raw and hard to process.
It's harder now that I'm here because I'm so used to him coming up to me asking me a lot of questions. And I haven't heard from him. It don't feel real.
Jailer Hensley says Thomas was always thinking of others and made the jail a better place to be. A legacy, he says, that will continue.
The best thing that they could do to honor him is just to be kind to everybody and be kind when you're dealing with people, because that's what he did. So just to kind of follow in his legacy of caring and really truly loving people is the best thing you can do.
For Travis, he'll remember a friend that was more like family and who will always be in his corner.
Just want to say how proud I am of you and that I love you very much, my brother. You know, he's that type of person. He always had your back no matter what.
Now, Thomas leaves behind 5 children, and Kentucky State Police say they believe heavy rain and wet roads were factors in the crash. And a family in Clay County was rescued yesterday after getting caught in floodwaters. They were driving on Chop Bottom Road when floodwaters swept their car away. They were able to make it out of the car and stayed on the roof until help arrived. The Clay County Sheriff wants to remind you to turn around, do not drown.
If you come across a roadway that's flooded, don't drive through it. You don't know how deep it is, and it don't take much water to take your vehicle downstream. As the old saying is, don't drown, turn around.
EMS took the family to a nearby medical center to be treated for possible injuries. And an oil spill in the Fallsburg area of Lawrence County has state and county environmental officials working to try and clean things up. Crude oil spilled into Blaine Creek near Fallsburg on Christmas Eve, causing county and state officials to spring into action to clean it up. When Helen Holt learned about the spill, she knew she had to do something to help. Holt, a former teacher, brought some of her friends and family to collect ducks and have them cleaned.
We have trying to catch the ducks, we're taking them home, we're bathing them with Dawn dishwasher liquid, trying to get the crude oil off of them.
The group has collected 8 ducks and is in the process of cleaning them. Unfortunately, 2 have died in the process. And the Kentucky Humane Society says they are caring for 2 horses rescued this past weekend in Floyd County. One of them is pregnant, and they are part of the herd where at least 20 horses were shot and killed earlier this month. Rescuers say both horses were in desperate need of help. Krista Frost shows us how they're recovering.
It was earlier this month a man living close to an abandoned strip mine in Floyd County found a disturbing scene. 14 horses shot and killed. Since then,
it's confirmed 20 deaths by gunshot.
But while looking around the scene, rescuers found something.
To our knowledge, the only surviving pregnant horse that survived the shooting. We don't know how she got away, but we're just happy that she was able to make it.
Not only her and an unborn baby, but her colt. Both mom and colt thankfully without gunshot wounds, but she's had to step up while out in the wild defenseless.
Very thin. She just doesn't have a lot of energy, and the baby's draining her nutrients because he's still nursing.
That's why she and her colt were brought to Willow Hope Farm in Simpsonville, so Humane Society workers can nurse her back to health while weaning her colt off nursing and preparing mom here for birth, all while others try to figure out why someone shot these horses.
I just can't understand why somebody would do that.
In Shelby County, Krista Frost.
Our reward in the shooting is now up to $20,000 at last check, and if you have any information, you can call the Floyd County Sheriff's Office. In Pineville, officers say a woman who went to a regular probation visit was arrested after her drug screen. Police say this woman, Julie Miller, tried to pass of her dog's urine as her own. Miller said she brought it in because she knew she would fail the drug test, and Miller was charged with tampering with physical evidence. And a Floyd County grand jury will decide what happens next in an assault case. Investigators say during an argument last week, Timothy Cunningham shot a man in the head. The victim survived that shooting, and Cunningham faces an assault charge. The grand jury will decide whether to indict him. And a reported fight Sunday left one man in the hospital and another behind bars. Barberville police say Joshua Penn stabbed a man. Here's a look at Penn. He pleaded not guilty during a hearing Monday morning. Investigators say he admitted to fighting but did not recall using a knife. The victim was sent to UK Hospital to be treated for multiple stab wounds. In West Virginia, Governor Jim Justice approved the firings of an entire Department of Correction cadets training class on Monday. This after pictures of the class doing what appears to be a Nazi salute went viral. A state report also recommends the firing of one additional staff member who did not report the content of the picture. The investigation also found that the instructor knew about the salute and actually encouraged it, ensuring the behavior was appropriate.
We have to look at the big picture with the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. We have to not only look at these individuals involved, but what could possibly happen a month or 10 years down the road with these individuals.
Secretary Jeff Sandy says that as a result of the incident, they are going to be providing additional training to cadets in order to prevent this from happening again.
The forecast this morning, pretty quiet. A few clouds across parts of the region, but that's really the only game in town. We had a few stray showers in the overnight hours, but those have passed us by. A couple more possible today, but not expecting a whole lot. 40 right now, London, 41 in Pikeville, 44 in Hazard, the warm spot, 40 in Ashland, 39 though in Williamsburg, and in Jackson, Irvin down to 38 now. They dropped a degree. And Somerset, Somerset, Moorhead, and Wise all at 37. Your out the door forecast, temperatures are going to continue to fall through mid-morning, which is unusual because usually 7 o'clock is our coldest part of the day, but 9 o'clock will be that today, and then again we'll see that trend go back upward just a little bit to right around 40 with some late day sunshine. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. Coming up, some Kentucky pastor says it's becoming more important from armed security guards to protect congregations during church services.